Hey guys, I'm happy that you're here. My name is Bechoy and I am your plantito from Mindanao. Tara at samahan niyo ako sa aking plant journey. To those who are new to this channel, especially sa mga hindi pa nakapag-subscribe, please click on our subscribe button and click on the bell notification para maging updated kayo sa ating mga latest uploads. And also guys, please follow me on our other social media accounts. So that's aside from YouTube. We do have a Facebook page and our page is Bechoy Vlog. And we also have an Instagram and our ID is Bechoy_vlog. And let's talk about plants. So for our episode today guys, we'll be talking about plants that look alike and how do we differentiate or distinguish them from each other, or yung mga halaman na magkakaparehas yung itsura at paano ba natin sila ma-identify. I know that to some plant collectors, especially sa mga matagal na, this may not be a challenge, but I think this is really very useful sa mga baguhan pa lang or kakaumpisa pa lang ng kanilang plant journey. Ako mismo, aminado ako na I've gone through this experience before, especially nung bago pa lang ako, nahihirapan talaga akong i-identify itong mga plants na magkakaparehas yung itsura. And at the end of our video guys, I do hope na meron talaga kayong matutunan, especially sa mga baguhan pa lang sa ating pagko-collect ng plants. And the plants na i-showcase natin today guys are the plants that only belong to my collection para meron talaga tayong actual comparison between these plants. And the plants that we will be featuring today belong to the family of Philodendrons, may mga Anthuriums din, Monstera, Calatheas, and some epipremnum family members. And the very first plants that we will be comparing today guys belong to the family of Anthuriums. And we have here in front of us two big na mga Anthuriums. The one on my right, this is our Anthurium magnificum. And the one on my left, this is our Anthurium crystal hope. And at the very first glance guys, I'm really sure that you're really confused about these two plants kasi they really look alike. Pero kung scrutinize natin sila and look at them closely, especially side by side, doon na natin ma-identify and ma-distinguish na magkaiba sila ng mga Anthuriums. So first thing na i-check natin is, ano ba yung similarities with our two Anthuriums? Number one would be the shape of its leaves. And if we can see here, yung shape ng ating mga Anthuriums, they have this heart shape talaga. Most of them, they have this heart shape. And even the shape of this heart here ng ating Anthurium na magnificum, actually, it's almost the same talaga with our crystal hope as well. Second similarity naman natin with this one, guys, is the color of the leaves itself. So, if we try to look at the foreground color or yung shade ng ating magnificum na leaves, they almost have the same shade of green. So, magkapareho sila ng shade na medyo may pagka-dark green. Yung third similarity naman natin na makikita is yung kanyang colors ng kanyang veins. So for our magnificum, we can see here na medyo close to white or very light green yung kanyang veins dito. And it's almost the same with our crystal hope na it also has that close to white or very light green na color. Another similarity with our two Anthuriums here is that they do have the same growth pattern. So most of our Anthuriums, alam naman natin na hindi talaga sila climbing type of plant. So, dadami at dadami lang yung mga dahon natin dito. So, it's almost the same lang din with our crystal hope. Natutubo lang din yung mga dahon dito. Even the mga new leaves ng ating dalawang Anthuriums na ito, both the magnificum and our crystal hope, they have the same characteristics talaga. They would go out as medyo light brown yung kanyang color, something like this, and then eventually kapag lumaki na yung mga dahon natin, nag-turn sila into green as the leaves mature. And as both of these plants belong to the family of Anthuriums, we can also expect that they are flowering plants. So even the flowers guys, they have the same flowers, even the colors and the growth pattern of the flowers, they have the same. One big difference between these two plants, and I think it's the only thing that we can see, yung physical talaga na makikita natin guys, is the details on its veins. So maybe at this point you can already identify kung ano yung pinaka big difference nila, and that is on the thickness of its veins. So for our Anthurium magnificum, makikita natin na parang simple line lang yung ating veins dito. It still has that crystal like na mga structures dito sa if we take a look at it on a closer look, And see here guys, for our Crystal Hope, mako-compare talaga natin na medyo makapal yung ating veins for our Crystal Hope. Let's take a closer look here sa ating Magnificum. So, if I try to check on this one, yung kanyang thickness ng kanyang veins, it's actually around 2 to 3 millimeters lang. Estimate ko lang yan. So, para naman sa ating Crystal Hope, it's very obvious here na medyo makapal talaga siya. And I think this is around close to 1 centimeter or almost 10 millimeter yung kanyang thickness. So, ito guys, side by side natin yung dalawang Anthuriums natin. And we can clearly see the big difference between these two. Now that I have mentioned yung big difference na makikita natin physically between these two plants, yung isa pang difference na ating dalawang Anthuriums na ito is with the pricing. So, siguro familiar na kayo na yung ating Anthurium magnificum. This is considered to be a common type of Anthurium and it means that it's a bit affordable. For our Crystal Hope naman na Anthurium, this is considered to be an uncommon na Anthurium. So we can expect that the price of this one is medyo pricey talaga siya. So for our Anthurium magnificum of this size na guys, I think we can estimate this one to be around 500 pesos siguro. Ganito na siya na size. For our Crystal Hope naman, it's actually a bit expensive talaga. For this size and ganito na rin karami ng mga leaves, we can estimate na around 8,000 to 12,000 pesos yung price range niya. So now we may proceed to our next plants na i-compare guys. And now let's go to the family of Philodendron. And we have here two very beautiful Philodendrons. The one on my left, this is our Philodendron glorious. And the other one on my right naman, this is our Philodendron gloriosum. And at first glance, you'd really think that these two plants are the same. Well, actually, technically, meron talagang genes yung ating glorious from the gloriosum. And then just to explain further, guys, our glorious is actually a hybrid between Melanochrysum and our Philodendron gloriosum. So kaya makakakita talaga tayo ng similarities between these two plants. So first things first, guys, let's talk about the similarities between these two plants. Number one is the shape of our leaves. So we can clearly see na magkapareho sila ng heart shape. And number two na similarity naman natin between these two plants is the color of its leaves. So we can see na magkapareho sila, almost the same yung shade ng kanilang pagka-color green. And they almost have the same details than with the veins of our two plants. Another similarity also between these two plants is that they have the same color of the petioles. So this is color green for our gloriosum. And if we try to check here guys, meron siyang mga white strips dito sa kanyang mga petioles. And let's go to our glorious. It also has that same color green and the white strips dito sa kanyang mga petioles. Another similarity between these two plants guys is that they almost have the same texture or feel with its leaves na medyo may pagka-velvety yung ating mga dahon. So now let's proceed kung ano ba yung mga differences between our gloriosum and our glorious. Now you might be confused guys kasi earlier I mentioned that they have the same heart-shaped na form ng mga leaves. But if we take a closer look at our two plants, our two Philodendron plants, we can clearly see here na magkaiba talaga. There's actually a difference with the heart shape ng ating mga dahon. So for our gloriosum, medyo roundish yung kanyang pagka-heart. And for our glorious, if we try to check on this one, medyo elongated yung kanyang pagka-heart shape. So yung pagka-difference ng ating mga heart shape ng mga philodendrons dito guys, for the glorious, ma-attribute natin ito sa kanyang pagiging crossbreed. So again, I've mentioned earlier that the glorious is a hybrid or crossbreed between our gloriosum and our Melanochrysum. Yung ating mga Melanochrysum, we all know that it's a bit elongated siya ng mga plants as compared with the glorious na medyo roundish heart. So kaya yun, from the genes of the Melanochrysum, medyo nakuha yun ng ating glorious, kaya medyo narrow yung kanyang pagka-heart shape. One difference also I can notice between our glorious and our gloriosum is yung thickness ng ating mga dahon. So, for the glorious, I feel it's a bit thin siya as compared with our gloriosum. Again, it's attributed to the genes of the Melanochrysum, and we all know na yung Melanochrysum, medyo manipis talaga yung kanyang dahon relatively compared with our gloriosum. And we also have another difference, big difference actually for our glorious and our gloriosum. And it becomes very obvious especially kapag fully mature or naging marami na yung mga dahon ng ating glorious. So for our glorious, it's actually a trailing type of a philodendron and it got its genes from the Melanochrysum na nagtitrail pataas. Habang yung ating gloriosum naman, this is actually a philodendron na yung kanyang growth pattern similar to that of Plomaniae or yung mga mame, mga pastasanum na pasides yung kanyang growth. And in terms of pricing guys, actually yung ating gloriosum ngayon medyo affordable na sila. I can still remember that I got this one last year, late last year, and it still had 2 or 3 leaves ata. Maliliit pa sila. It was a bit expensive, mga around 2,000 pesos. But now, napaka-affordable na natin mga Gloriosum. And I think for this size, I don't think aabot na ito ng 1,000 pesos. So medyo bumaba talaga yung kanyang pricing. For our Glorios, it's actually a bit expensive as compared with our Gloriosum. So for this plant siguro na may dalawang dahon, I think yung kanyang estimate is around 4,000 pesos. So guys, I hope na na-clarify na natin yung difference between our two philodendrons. This is our Philodendron glorios, which is a trailing type of a philodendron. And this is our Philodendron gloriosum. On to our next philodendron, guys, and we have here our Philodendron Prince of Orange. And this is our Philodendron Prince Albert. And at first glance, I know it's really confusing, guys, because they have almost the same look. So, they have the green colored na mga leaves and they have this new na mga dahon which is colored orange or close to red-orange. Kaya nakaka-confuse talaga itong dalawang philodendron, and me, even ako, guys, I'm really confused with this one. So, let's try to talk first about the similarities between these two philodendrons. They actually have the same colored green na mga leaves, especially sa kanyang mga mature na mga dahon. So, this is for our Prince of Orange. And for our Prince Albert, so they have the same shade of green and almost the same shape na kanyang mga dahon. Another similarity between these two plants, guys, is that they have the same growth pattern. I'm not sure lang kung ano ba yung tawag doon, but parang magkaparehas ba doon with our black cardinal na mga growth pattern na parang nagpo-form siya ng crown. So ganito yung style or growth pattern ng ating Prince Albert. It's also the same with our Prince of Orange. Now, these two philodendrons are actually categorized as a common na philodendron. So, in terms of pricing, we can expect that they have almost the same price range also. So, paano ko ba siya ma-differentiate, guys, considering na almost the same yung kanyang look? Yung pinaka-main differentiator talaga natin between these two plants, guys, it's with its newest leaf. So, for our Prince of Orange, from the name itself, yung kanyang pinakabagong dahon will actually turn out as color orange. And this one lang, for our illustration purposes lang, this is already the intermediate color niya. So for our Prince of Orange, yung kanyang pinakabagong dahon, it would go out as color orange and then magta-transition ito into light orange or medyo yellow orange, which is this one. And then eventually, kapag nag-mature na yung dahon, it would go out or turn out as color green na, such as this one. And for our Prince Albert naman, dalawa lang yung kanyang color transition. Yung kanyang pinakabagong dahon, it would go out as this one, medyo light pink or somewhat may shade din siya ng orange. And then, it would turn out as color green as the leaves mature. So, dalawa lang yung kanyang transition from light pink or medyo light orange into dark green. So ito, guys, there's also one big difference between these two philodendrons, and that is on its, if you try to check on its mature na mga dahons. This is for our Prince Albert. Actually, I can feel here na medyo rough yung kanyang dahon, yung kanyang texture, medyo rough siya. And for our Prince of Orange naman, kung i-feel ko yung kanyang dahon, medyo smooth yung kanyang feel or yung kanyang texture. So again, guys, don't be confused with these two philodendrons. This is our Prince of Orange and this is our Prince Albert. On to our next two plants that I compare, guys, and we have here in front of us our Philodendron Varsiviche green form, and the one on my left naman, this is our Tomatophyllum silom. So ano ba yung pinaka-big na similarities between these two plants? And I think it's more on the shape of our leaves, guys. Kasi at first glance, we would really think na magkaparehos lang sila. But then later on, we can clearly identify na they are two different plants talaga. So I totally understand why people get confused between these two plants then. Because magkapareho sila ng mga lobes dito or yung mga shape ng mga dahon. Especially kapag hindi pa fully mature yung ating Philodendron Varsiviche. So, paano ba natin sila properly ma-differentiate with each other? Actually, it's not that difficult, guys, because these two plants, they actually have more differences as compared with its similarities. So, number one is yung shape ng ating mga mature na mga dahon. So, for our silom, it actually has the same shape lang from the juvenile na mga dahon papunta sa kanyang pagiging mature na mga dahon. For our Varsiviche, yung kanyang mga juvenile na mga dahon, magka-similar sila with our silom, but as the plant matures, yung kanyang mga dahon, nag-iiba na rin yung kanyang shape. So, instead of the medyo curvy ng mga ends here, nagiging sharp na yung point ng ating mga dahon ng Varsiviche. One big difference also with our Varsiviche and silom is that yung lobes ng ating Varsiviche, it's actually a bit deep as compared with that of our silom. So makikita natin na medyo malapit na siya dito sa ating veins ng ating dahon. Yung silom naman natin is medyo malayo pa talaga siya dito sa gitna. So one big difference between these two plants, guys, is yung kanyang growth pattern. So the way I see it, yung ating silom, this is not a climbing type or a trailing type na plant. Talagang magiging lush lang siya na ganito yung kanyang growth pattern dito malapit sa ating root system. For our Philodendron Varsiviche naman, yung kanyang growth pattern, it's actually similar to that of a tree. So dito makikita natin na parang meron siyang sariling trunk as the plant matures. Another big difference between these two plants, guys, it's with its pricing. So for our silom, actually last year I can remember na medyo pricey pa itong ating silom kasi kukonti pa lang yung nasa plant market. Pero ngayon, may napakaraming stocks na nito. And I think for this size at ganito nakalash, it's only priced at around 500 pesos. For our Varsiviche naman, even the green form, this is a bit expensive. So for this plant size, siguro nasa mga 2,000 to 3,000 pesos. And the golden version of this one, the golden Varsiviche, is a bit more expensive. On to our next plants for comparison, guys, and we have here two philodendrons. The one on my right, this is our Philodendron Golden Dragon, and the one on my left, this is our Philodendron Bobsie. So ano ba yung similarities natin between these two plants? Number one is yung kanyang mga lobes or yung pagkakaroon ng corrugation sa kanyang mga dahon. So for both of these plants, we can see here na meron siyang shape talaga with its corrugations here or lobes na makikita natin with its leaves. Same goes with our Philodendron Golden Dragon. Meron din siya ditong mga lobes and some corrugations dito sa kanyang mga dahon. So another similarity between these two plants, guys, is the color of its leaves. So kapag nag-mature na yung mga dahon natin, they have that almost the same shade ng pagka-color green, and for the new leaves naman, medyo magkaparos din sila and it starts out as medyo light green or yellow green. Another similarity between these two plants is that they have almost the same shape ng mga dahon, which is narrow or pahaba. So Golden Dragon medyo pahaba din siya, and that's the same with our Philodendron Bobsie. And next similarity natin is with the growth pattern of both these plants. So I actually consider this as a trailing type na Philodendron. So yung ating Golden Dragon, nagtitrail din ito pahaba, and same goes with our Philodendron Bobsie, nagtitrail din ito pahaba. So ano ba yung big difference between these two philodendrons? If we try to look at it at a closer look, malalaman talaga natin na magkaiba itong dalawang philodendron. For our Bobsie, yung kanyang mga dahon, dito makikita natin na yung kanyang mga edges or dulo ng mga dahon is medyo curvy or roundish. Even the lobes here, medyo roundish din siya or curvy. As compared with our Golden Dragon, so itong Golden Dragon naman natin, guys, yung edges or end ng kanyang mga dahon is medyo sharp siya, and yung kanyang dahon itself, it actually resembles to that of a dragon's head. Kaya nga siya tinawag na Golden Dragon. It's because yung kanyang form is similar to that of a dragon's head, and it has this pronounced ears dito sa dulo. One big difference also between these two plants is with its pricing. So our Philodendron Golden Dragon, this is considered to be a common type of a philodendron, and that is why it's a bit affordable. And for this plant, I think siguro na sa mga dito sa amin, guys, sa Mindanao, this is around 500 pesos siguro yung kanyang price. But for our Philodendron Bobsie, this is considered to be an uncommon na philodendron, and that is why it's a bit pricey. And for this plant, I think I got this one at the price of 3,000 pesos, pero dalawang dahon pa lang siya that time. On to our next two plants for comparison, guys, and we have here our Alocasia na mga plants. This is our Alocasia Sanderiana nobilis, and the one on my left, this is our Alocasia amazonica. And at first glance, I know it's really confusing, guys, because they have almost the same look here, even the color of the leaves and the details on its veins. Medyo magkaparehos talaga yung ating dalawang Alocasias. Now, considering that these two plants are both members of the Alocasia family, so we can also expect that they have the same growth pattern. So what are the differences between these two Alocasias? Number one is with the actual shape of its leaves. So for our Amazonica, we can see here that medyo wide siya dito na part, dito sa may gitna na portion, as compared with our Alocasia Sanderiana nobilis na medyo manipis. Another big difference also is with the corrugation of both of these Alocasias. So for our Amazonica, medyo marami yung kanyang corrugations dito sa kanyang gilid ng ating mga dahon at maliliit yung kanyang curves. For our Alocasia sanderiana nobilis naman, medyo kukonti relatively yung kanyang lobes dito at medyo makapal or matataba yung kanyang mga lobes. Another big difference that I can also see between these two Alocasias is with the details of its veins. So, I think you can clearly see here na in terms of the numbers of veins naman, medyo mas marami yung sa ating Amazonica as compared with our Sanderiana nobilis. And also, if we try to compare them side by side then, makikita natin or manonotice natin na yung veins ng ating Alocasia Sanderiana nobilis ay parang meron siyang highlight dito sa kanyang veins as compared with our Amazonica na medyo parang line lang yung makikita natin dito. So again guys, this is our Alocasia nobilis and this is our Alocasia amazonica. So on to our next plants for comparison guys, and we have here our Monstera deliciosa, and I just took a leaf here. This is our epipremnum pinnatum green or the regular form. So I'm really sorry guys kasi kumuha lang ako ng dahon kasi wala akong potted na pinnatum na mature size na with fenestrations. So let me just emphasize guys, yung ating epipremnum pinnatum na green or the regular form, yung kanyang common name dito, it's popularly known as tibatib or dragon's tail. And I have to admit then guys, actually isa din ako sa mga, hindi naman siguro na scam or pero I was one of those people na nag-believe na magkaparehas lang yung ating tibatib or yung pinnatum natin with our Monstera deliciosa. But that is because baguhan pa lang tayo sa plant journey natin dati. So, hindi pa talaga tayo expert at hindi din natin ma-differentiate na magkaiba pala yung dalawang plants na ito. So, ano ba yung mga similarities natin between our Monstera deliciosa and our pinnatum or ang ating dragon's tail? It's actually with the color of its leaves na magkapareho sila na color ng mga dahon, which is color green. Yung mga non-variegated lang guys ha, we are talking about the mga plants or yung ating deliciosa and pinnatum na non-variegated. And they also have the same cuts or fenestrations, especially sa mga mature forms na ng mga pinnatum natin. So meron tayo dito mga fenestrations. And also for our Monstera deliciosa, meron din tayo dito mga fenestrations sa kanyang mga dahon. Also, both of these plants are trailing type na mga plants. So, ano ba yung big difference natin between these two plants? Don't get me wrong guys, both of these plants are equally beautiful, especially kapag nag-fully mature na sila. Yung isang difference talaga, major difference, is with the shape of our leaves. So, maybe you can see here na yung ating pinnatum or yung ating tibatib or dragon's tail, medyo narrow yung kanyang shape ng mga dahon. So, ito medyo pahaba siya. And for our Monstera deliciosa naman, and I think you can already notice that, medyo round yung kanyang shape ng mga dahon at may pagka-heart din. Although both of these plants do have fenestrations as the plant matures, isang difference din natin between the deliciosa and our tibatib is yung ating deliciosa, nagkakaroon sila ng holes as the plant matures. So, aside from the fenestrations na makikita natin dito, kapag nag-fully mature na yung ating deliciosa, they will also have holes or eyes dito sa gitna ng ating mga dahon, which is wala sa ating mga tibatib. So, in terms of pricing naman, meron talagang big difference guys kasi yung ating tibatib, this is very abundant lang. Sa wild lang, dito nga sa amin, napakaraming mga tibatib na nagsisisulputan at naglalakihan sa mga coconut trees. So, I think we can get this one for free lang dito sa amin. For our deliciosa naman, we have to buy this one unless kung bigyan lang tayo. So, for this pot siguro, I think yung price nito nasa mga maybe 1,000 pesos. And on to our next plant, and this will be our last plants for comparison for this episode kasi napakarami pa talagang plants na pwede nating makompare guys. And we have here our Calathea na mga plants. So this is our Calathea illustris, and the one on my left, this is our Calathea medallion. So at first glance, you would really think na magkaparehos lang sila guys. But then, if we put them side by side, we can clearly see na magkaiba itong dalawang Calatheas natin. So first, let's talk about the similarities between these two Calatheas. Number one is that they have the same shape of the leaves. So medyo pahaba din siya, or how do I describe this? Medyo oblong yung kanyang shape ng kanyang mga dahon. In terms of the color naman, they have almost the same shades dito. So may mga color green, dark green, and light green na portion. So both of these have those shades na mga color green. And another similarity also between these two plants is that they have the same underleaf na color. So both of them has this medyo red, violet, or maroon na underleaf. Same goes with our Calathea medallion. In terms of growth pattern naman guys, I know naman that these are both Calathea, so we can expect na magkaparehos din yung kanilang growth pattern. And in terms of pricing naman guys, actually both of these plants are imported. I'm not sure lang if it's from Thailand or Holland or from China, but they have the same price range lang din. So ano ba yung big difference natin between these two Calatheas? If we try to scrutinize it and then put them side by side, makikita talaga natin na magkaiba yung pattern ng mga colors dito sa gitna ng ating mga dahon. So for our medallion, it's actually similar to that of a peacock siya na style. So may outer light green tayo dito, and then may white na outline dito sa gitna, and dark green na color, and then another light green na pattern dito sa gitna naman. For our illustres naman na Calathea, we can see here na yung kanyang pattern is meron tayong dark shade ng green dito sa outer portion, may light yellow or white na outline dito sa gitna. And then ito na, makikita na natin na meron na siyang mga strips dito sa gitna na nag-alternate yung light green and yung dark green. So again, makikita talaga natin na yung difference natin is with the leaf pattern ng ating dalawang Calatheas. And also guys, I just would like to highlight na yung family natin ng Calatheas, may napakaraming mga plants ng Calatheas na magkakaparehas yung itsura at sa dami nila baka kulangin yung episode natin. So maybe we can just do a separate video na lang para makapag-compare pa tayo ng ibang mga Calatheas that look alike. So again guys, this is our Calathea na medallion and this is our Calathea illustres. So that's it for our episode today guys, and maybe we'll just do another episode of plant comparisons in the future. And before we end this video, let me just take this opportunity to thank Kth.artwear for sending us this very beautiful shirt. So this belongs to their Jardinera plant collections. So we have here a very beautiful shirt. Happiness is having more plants, so they've got very cool shirts guys, and then visit them in their IG, and that is Kth.artwear. I'll just post the IG link in our description box. So before we end our video, let us do our shout outs. Shout out kay Ma'am Dita Jennifer, shout out also to Luz Morales, shout out na rin kay Sir Oliver Castro, shout out also to Erickson Herbas, shoutout na rin kay Ma'am Aida Rinon. Shoutout also to Clyde Rivera. Hi and hello to Greg Dagpin. And shoutout also to Sir Mark Vince Mendoza. Guys, if you happen to like our videos, please don't forget to like. Click on the like button. Share it to your families, to your friends, and to your loved ones. And if bago ka pa lang sa ating channel, please do click on the subscribe button and click on the bell notification para maging updated kayo sa ating mga latest uploads. Once again, this is Bechoy, your plantito from Mindanao. Happy planting!